Welcome back to another episode of Jam-Packed Business Made Easy with AI. This podcast, we explore how real people are using AI to reimagine work, creativity, and connection. And today I'm joined by Taylor Tucker, founder of Between Bags, a growing community for people navigating unemployment and career transitions. Taylor shares how she uses AI not just to job hunt, but to rediscover her passions, design digital resources, and even plan an app that helps others bounce back with purpose. We'll talk about the role of creativity, resilience, and human connection in an AI-driven world. Let's dive in.
We are officially recording. I asked Taylor before we jumped on, I said, do you have any questions for me before? And she said, let's just do it. I like that.
Yes.
So, Taylor, I reached out to you because when you and I had initially met, something really stuck out to me. And you said, yeah, I'm really getting involved in AI. I'm really getting involved in community. And I'm really hoping, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. My understanding was you're kind of bridging this gap between like community and job seeking and maybe AI involved in that. So I'm not doing it justice. Go ahead and introduce us to yourself and kind of what you're doing in the world these days.
Yeah, so my name is Taylor Tucker. I am on this quest right now to start this organization. It's called Between Bags. Right now we're at our infancy, starting in Chicago, but as you said, definitely the target audience is folks that are unemployed, maybe recently laid off or in transition, just looking for something new. And so many of us are in that space, have been in that space in the last few years, and the job market is very tough. And so there is, I believe, I feel, and I've noticed that there's a large amount of people that are have been unemployed for 1+ years. And so myself, I was laid off in 2023. And so in my job hunt, I used AI, and that's when I really started to get into it. And it really helped me to level set and figure out what I really like. Also figure out my talents and what I should focus on, because I, like many others, have so many talents and, things that I want to do. But of course, in order to be effective, you kind of need to focus on one thing at one time. And so AI has been a great partner for me, and also has allowed me to kind of build out a coaching staff of my own. And I think that a lot of other folks that are, seeking direction in this time of maybe not reporting into a job could benefit from a community that gives them these resources, and also just the digital resources themselves. And so, yes, Between Bags seeks to do that, bridge that gap. As I said, starting in Chicago, doing meetups to upskill with others, and also just get some camaraderie in this space that a lot of people kind of stayed, unfortunately, because, it's looked at, oh, you're unemployed. A lot of times you can start to doubt yourself and things. So that's what we hope to do, is kind of fill in the gap there.
I love that. So you're creating this community for those seeking jobs. And I'm trying to think, I don't know if I've ever heard that be done. I mean, are you running across other organizations that are doing this? And like what does this look like? Like what are you offering with Between Bags, which is such a cute name. Such a cute name.
Yes. So, yeah, it's funny you say that. And that's honestly why I did go ahead and move forward with, making this an organization, and got my LLC done and all of that,
Nice.
to be official, because, yeah, I didn't find anybody else that was specifically targeted on folks that were unemployed. And I think a lot of times on LinkedIn, that's another place that inspired me to do this, is because on LinkedIn, I was seeing all of these sad stories and folks that just looked like they needed outlets to get it out. And, LinkedIn, naturally, I think because it is a career focused platform, folks are posting that on there. But I think that it needs to be a more curated space for that conversation, outside of Reddit and outside of, these LinkedIn chats or even Facebook groups. And so, yeah, what it looks like is an in-person and also a virtual community. And so one of the ways in which I am using AI is to come up with an app. And so that folks that aren't in Chicago can also, access these resources and speak with, other people who are just unemployed, maybe nearby them. And then in person, there'll be the upskilling workshops. And so led by myself and then others, I'm collaborating with different organizations, there are lots of alumni organizations, lots of young professional career organizations that have members that were employed and that, may not be employed. So this is a way to kind of gather those folks because there isn't, like we were saying, isn't targeted programming for them. So it was kind of like a perfect hand in hand thing to work alongside these organizations. It's like the audience is there, it's just no programming. And so Between Bags is stepping in to do that programming. So yeah, I haven't really seen anybody else doing it. So
if someone sees, I love that you said an upskilling workshop, and honestly, Taylor, you're so articulate. So if someone attends an upscaling workshop, let's say in person, what can they expect?
Yep. And so for Between Bags, and I'm still crafting this out is exactly how it's gonna look. But so far the conversation with partners is that you come in, there'll be 20 minutes of content and demos. So for instance, our first workshop is all about branding the bounce back. And so we'll be using Google Gemini to come up with our personal storybooks. And that's something that I did that, it was really empowering to see like myself as almost a hero in my own story, which you really have to look at yourself as, the main character and as the hero in your story and in your career journey. It just reframes the unemployment season. And so that'll be our first workshop. And so you come in 20 minutes, we talk through Google Gemini, work through the tool, demo how to use it. And then there'll be 20 minutes of experimentation. So you go through, maybe write down your story, and hopefully you have some MVP of what your storybook will look like. It's very quick to do it in Gemini. And then 20 minutes of networking. So that's just talking with the other folks that are there. So it's a quick 60 minutes. But the whole point is for it to be impactful and for you to actually leave with something, because a lot of the programming that's out there that's career focused is, panels or just talking inspirational talks. And I know the skill piece is something that I know that I yearn for in more programming and more events. And so that's what this will, accomplish.
How cool. Okay, wait. Before I get too excited, talk me back. Like, who was Taylor in 2023?
Yeah, Taylor. Oh my gosh. So Taylor was living in Los Angeles in 2023.
Okay. In Los Angeles, Taylor, tell me a little, what were you doing? What brought you to almost 2026 Chicago, Taylor?
Right. So 2023, Los Angeles, I was a senior consultant at a boutique firm. We did process improvement work for post-production studios mainly. So since we were in that LA world, it was entertainment focused. And that was also a big dream of mine. And so I had this dream to be a filmmaker, writer, screenwriter. So I was in the writing realm of things. Like that was the dream. And so, in 2023, I was writing. I was figuring out like how I could pitch a show. And so, the first year that I was unemployed, I wasn't looking because I was, trying to find context in writing and getting my show together. But still like into AI a little bit because I have a lot of friends that are in corporate. So they were talking about it. I'm like, curious. So I was writing down things. But in 2023, that was me. And then I'm like, all right, this LA dream is taking a little time. I think I got to move back home. So I moved back home to Chicago. And then since being here, I've just been figuring out gigs on my own and fending for myself essentially. And me being in corporate all of my adult life, this is the first for me to kind of find gigs. And AI has been such a help for me, like plugging in what I'm interested in doing, what I can do, my restraints, and then it giving me ideas. And I'm thinking out of the box, going on YouTube. And it just, a lot of that hustle mentality I was able to get in Chicago and like, okay, wow, it's taken me a year to finally get to this point where it's like, okay, I have a steady flow of gigs. And I just feel that a lot of folks that are unemployed, when I see the LinkedIn posts, I know that they're probably racking their minds too. Like, how can I get something going? And so, that's why I came up with this Between Bags. But in 2023, I was film focused, screenwriter.
Okay. And are you still doing anything with screenwriting now?
I'm not officially. The door is not shut, but it's been less of a focus for me. Yes.
Shifting gears. Yeah. I mean, I love, I honestly, sometimes it's a fault of mine where I'm like, but I have this dream. And then people are like, yeah, but like life, and I'm like, but I had this dream, So honestly, it's really nice to have the flexibility and to be realistic as well, and to say, okay, it's, let's look at other opportunities. So between that, so you're creating this community. I love the direction that you're going with these upscaling workshops. I love also, I took a note that you said you're using AI for level setting. And, so Jam.ai, we work with small business owners, those in sales and marketing, and we help power them with different AI tools, right? So in layman's terms, I work with this brilliant woman named Jam Anderson, and she like absorbs AI and technology faster than I can like remember the name of the new tool that has come out. I don't understand it. I don't understand. We are not the same. And she will basically absorb this information and filter it. And her background is in sales and marketing, right? So she filters these new tools and basically how to best use different AI tools for sales and marketing, essentially. And I mean, it's incredible. And it's so funny that she and I work so closely, and I'm like literally over here in the jungle, like I use ChatGPT, you know what I mean? Because she can she's amazing. And I share that with you because I talk to a lot of people in this space that use AI in their profession, whether it's content writing or, data, or some sort of audit, or some sort of digital creation, right? So I talk to a lot of people with that, and I love that you said AI used for level setting, because I'm seeing more and more of this, like, hey, AI, based on everything you've learned about me, what are some personal strengths I could, expand on? And when you said, for level setting, that's kind of what came to mind. But talk us through a little bit more of that, and what you mean and how you use it. Maybe share some tips with us.
Yeah. So the level setting piece, it came about because, like you said, there is a lot of this, okay, how can I make $10,000 in a month, AI? And what am I missing? What's the skill set if I need to be, the next Steve Jobs that I can do? And yeah, it was kind of getting to me like, wow, this is just a superpower tool. But the more I dove into it and got into YouTube videos and started to listen to more videos and just like learning the capabilities in AI, and specifically ChatGPT has been my mainstay, but I've branched out to other tools as well. But ChatGPT is where I started, and it's where I do most of my daily work. And that's another thing. Like like you said, there are so many AI tools coming out every day. And it's like, if you, one thing I've noticed is if I consume myself with trying to be up on all the latest tools, like I will just never,
So
because
that's why we need people like Jam, who like is somehow able to do it and filter it out for the rest of us, because
like
yeah.
the tools end up eating themselves,
Yes.
It's like they come up with something, then the next day it's like, oh, well, now ChatGPT is going to do that too. And it's like, oh, well, then I don't even need that little satellite tool. So it just becomes that type of thing. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so as I was getting into the YouTube videos, a lot of I started to hear about creators saying, AI should also be used to check your work, and to also identify weaknesses, and to also tell you the things that you might be missing as far as blind spots. And that made me start to go, okay, yeah, because some of the plans that they were giving me, it was a bit like, all right, that a lot of things will have to go correct that are not in my control in order for this to work. And so I started to incorporate things like iteration in my asks. So when I put in a prompt for ChatGPT, I'll ask it to identify its weaknesses, rank the responses. I'll also just keep telling it to refresh. Give me 6 more, give me 3 more, do this again. Optimize for this, optimize for that on this response. And then out of those, I'll batch them into what I think is the best answer. And for me, I've noticed that's the best way to kind of level say, okay, this is, what's right. I also don't remove my own cognition, if I can say. So I think that's something that a lot of people think AI is going to do, is just take away jobs. People won't have to be here, but we're still smarter than this thing, this isn't super intelligent yet.
Yeah. No,
And,
and I
you
love
know,
that you said that. So when Jam started, Jam AI, something that she said often that it took me a while to really grasp, but she was like, no, I want to use AI. I want to empower others to use AI to allow them to have more time to be more human. And it's like, we don't want the robots, quote unquote, to take over the world. We want it to, empower us and support us, but we need to have that human aspect in it. We can't let that go. And I love that you said, like, I refresh it, because what I think of when I hear that is like, you're essentially getting 6, 7 different perspectives, right? Like,
Yep.
it's not just like one version. You're asking for all of these different perspectives. And I mean, essentially that's like being in a room with 6 different people with 6 different backgrounds. And you're kind of getting that different experience there.
Yeah.
Super cool. Super cool. Okay, so tell us between the box. Tell us more. What's your plan? Where do you want it to be? And what's kind of that end goal? You mentioned an app. What does that look like for you right now?
Yeah, so I'm actually using AI to build the app, and I'm sure as we have Codex on ChatGPT. OpenAI has Codex, and then there's also lots of different other AI businesses like Base 44 and also Lovable AI to quickly come up with an app design. And so I will be moving on to that next. I think first, though, I'm really completing our digital resources. So I've been building those lately, which are just, our jump starts to get folks in the community. And so I've been working on those digital resources for folks, and then I'll move into the app. But yeah, what that will look like is really a daily kind of companion, because I've noticed that we have so much more unstructured time or unemployed, and it's really hard to figure out, okay, what should I be focusing on? How should I structure my day? And I really want to build an app that, folks can have, and it'll help them go through, okay, this is how I'm planning the next 3 months. This is what I'm doing, what I'm working towards. This is what I can be doing in the meantime. These are things I can find for free to keep my sanity. All those resources within the app. And like I said, to just really be a daily companion, 'cause I think that's really missing. And in our layoff season, a lot of morale can fall quickly. And yeah, I just hate that for folks, as I said, as I see on my LinkedIn page, and then
Yeah.
just amongst my friends and things too. So
So Taylor, because you've immersed yourself so in this space, talk to me a little bit about, I hear people often talking about this like black hole of job applications. And, I heard one person say, okay, you can remove like the use AI, that might help you, that might not, so talk to me a little bit about your knowledge in that space and like what you're hearing from others about that.
yes, I definitely second that emotion. It's been very exhausting, the application process. And excuse me, I'm like plugging my laptop in really quickly. I don't know why my laptop has decided to.
I mean, that's why I was 2 minutes late to our call. So it happens to the best of us.
So sorry. In the middle of the recording, my laptop is going berserk. But yeah, so I second that emotion. I think that one way in which I have found a little help with AI, again, had to be creative in this season in applying. I also think that social media is a very slept on resource, and that's something that I've been leaning on as well. Of course, the filters and knowing what to look for, and being in it. And that's essentially why I wanted to create this community, because I feel like, honestly, in order to do well in this climate, you have to make it a job to learn how to get the job. And it takes a lot of research and stuff. So there are a lot of tricks of the trade. Of course, that applying within the first 24 hours is super key nowadays, especially since folks are using AI to scan resumes. And once they have, a certain number, they're kind of done looking, unless they still haven't found someone out of that batch. And so yeah, It's tough, but volume helps. Volume helps. Strategy helps with the first 24 hours, making sure your resume is up to par. Really good career coaches.
And you mentioned creativity. I liked that. You don't typically hear that term in the job search. So you're creating this community, and I think there's definitely a need for that. And you're creating these resources for people and these upscaling workshops. What do your loved ones think about what you're doing? What do your friends and family think of Between Bags?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's so funny. The folks that know me know that I'm a very big person. I like big goal, big personality type person. So, they're supportive of it. Just waiting to see where it goes, excited to see what happens. But I didn't give a little preface. I did some community organizing in Los Angeles when I lived there. And so that's what also made me feel like very empowered that I could do it in Chicago, because when I was in LA, I was throwing events for filmmakers and actors and everyone who worked in that space. And yeah, that was my base to get into, pitching my show. So it just kind of worked hand in hand. That wasn't the reason why I did it, because I just love community, but it just worked that way. And here in Chicago, I was like, I could do something similar for folks that are still looking for work. And yeah, yeah, my family is just supportive, friends interested in seeing how they can be a part and attending the events. So yeah.
Well, okay, so if you're talking to someone right now who's like, yes, I was also laid off and I have been seeking this community. I didn't even realize it. You mentioned that storyboarding for an upcoming workshop or for a workshop that you've done, and I love that. What are some other things that you would share to someone who's in this community that you're building or that you're a part of?
Yeah, as far as tips for a job hunt, or just
Whatever you feel might be relevant. Yeah.
yeah, so a big thing that I really, really would love for like the folks in Between Bags is to, the thing is empowerment. So I think figuring out if you do want to return to corporate, if you do want to just start a business, or just, do something totally different and maybe just volunteer. Like I think that unemployment and being laid off or between opportunities, it's like a blue sea. You realize like, oh my gosh, I could really do anything I want. Like, what do I want to do? There's so many options. And so I think the best way is to figure out what you want to do, what you're best at, and using AI as a thought partner to get there. Because truly, I have been able to X out a lot of ideas through just going through the conversation with my ChatGPT. And also one thing that I've done is teach ChatGPT about myself. So I've been able to write out more of my background, stories about my childhood, all of these things. And I uploaded them to ChatGPT, like, this is me, just letting you know. So this is where I'm coming from. And so I'm able to get a lot more personalized feedback. And I encourage
I love that.
Yeah, because yeah.
When we talk about training your GPTs, we are typically training them on branding voice or company policies but I love what you just said. You said I'm trained by ChatGPT and I've shared my childhood stories with my GPT so they know exactly like where I'm coming from. And that's really cool that you do that, and it's kind of like you created this coach who knows you on a much deeper level. How unique.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because a lot of times, like they said, when you're looking for what your passion is, and even for what your passion was for what you did up to this point, a lot of those passions or motivations started in our childhood. And if you want the best advice, in my opinion, I'm not. Some people think it's too much; they don't want to give too much of their information to the internet. But I feel, I'm a millennial. I'm open to it, and I'm late millennial, so we're 95. So I'm more open to it. I feel like the net knows so much about me already, and I have my two-factor authentication. But yeah, I just feel like I want the best advice, and a lot of my motivations for getting into a professional life and working in corporate started when I was a child, and like getting good grades. Like, why did I even want to be successful? Why do I, want to meet a certain mark? And so sharing those motivations with ChatGPT, I get better responses for, oh, okay, Taylor, we think, this based on, what I was student council president in 8th grade. Based on, this line of events, it seems like this would be naturally what you would gravitate towards. And I appreciate that advice better. So yeah, that's something I would encourage others to do too.
So right now in your journey, you're really creating this digital footprint. You're really getting the brand out there. You're hoping to then expand on to creating an app, and you're learning and probably relearning some technologies through that as it evolves. And what else is in store for you? Like what do the next 30 days look like for you as you grow this business?
Yeah, so I'm definitely growing this business, this community, because right now, it's free on all ends, free work for me and free for everyone to enjoy. But it's because it is something I enjoy doing. I love organizing community. It is hand in hand with, I think, might be my ikigai, as they say, what you're really good at. Like it's my zone of genius. I feel I'm really good at connecting folks just naturally, establishing rapport and just making people feel good, and united on a shared, purpose. So, it's something that I want to grow on in the corporate space. And again, as we're in this crazy job market, my background is in technology consulting. And so pivoting in this time is not the easiest. And one thing that I've noticed is just to do the work and attract folks to the work that you're doing. And, perhaps that'll get me onto that role that I think will be ideal for me, which is, head of community somewhere, especially in the AI space. I would love to work like Open AI or somewhere, doing their community events. So this would be, perhaps a stepping stone to that. But yeah, right now,
Existence.
yeah, take it into existence.
Taylor, I did a podcast with a woman named Olga out of New York City, and her company is, I want to say, oh, Olga, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. I know the name. I want to slap this. No, okay, I'll pull it up. I'll relink it in this podcast. How about that? How about double there for Olga for forgetting. But I share that with you because she mentioned her background was in product marketing, and fintech. And then she joined a hackathon, which in my mind, a hackathon was like for, the nerds that like live in their basement. No shade on the nerds who live in the basement. You know what I mean? Like we need more nerds who live in the basement. However, she joined it she was like, well, no, they needed someone who was on more of that UX experience. And I just thought that was really interesting. And then she was like, yeah, and I met she was like, and I met my lead engineer, and that's how we met. We met so many connections that way. But I thought that was really interesting because she was like, yeah, if you can join a hackathon, like go for it. And I don't know, I guess I figured I'd share that little tidbit with you because I feel like with your tech consulting and your background and just with how articulate you are and your connection to events, I feel like possibly participating in a hackathon could be like an awesome fit for you. So keep me posted.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Well, Taylor, thank you so much for joining me. I know the minute I met you, I was like, oh, I want to talk to her more. And I have no doubt, like you are set up for success. You're doing the work. You're putting the work in. And anyone who brings you onto their team or gets to be on your team is very lucky. So we're excited. Please, I'll send you a follow-up email, but please share anything that you want me to share as far as between the bags, and if that's social media or a website, please share that with me for me to pass on. And I wish you the best of luck, and I think what you're doing is really great.
Thank you so much. It was awesome chatting with you. I'm honored to be on this podcast, this platform, to talk more about all of the things right now that are going on. Yeah, this is a very pivotal time in history and all and everything, with this revolution in technology. And so, yeah, I'm excited to just be a part of it. And yeah, follow Between Bags Co. at on Instagram and things. Yeah, I will send along those links. But yeah, thank you.
Take care, Taylor. Talk soon.
Alrighty.
Ciao.
Bye.